What are we talking about? So how do you want to talk about this?
NFTs.
Yeah, how do you want to talk about it though?
I think we should talk about it as what do we think about them, because they're like obviously pretty new, pretty risky. You know what it stands for?
Yeah.
What does it stand for?
You actually think I don't know what it stands for?
I actually do. What does it stand for?
I'll leave this for the footage.
Welcome back, Jay, not just to the McInnes Marketing Minute, but also to Domestic Lands.
Oh yeah. I am home.
It's been a while.
I was gone for like 9 days.
9 days?
Must seem like 2 years in your world.
It went by too fast. Oh, too fast. But, today we're going to talk about some NFTs.
We're going to start doing a new, we should just do a whole new segment.
I feel we do a whole new segment every few months. We introduce it, and then a whole new segment a few months later.
But it's worth it. Alternative investing, not necessarily just alternative investing, but alternative to real estate investing.
Yeah.
The channel is obviously fundamentally based in realtors. That's what we do as our profession, obviously. But there's a lot more to us.
Well, there's a lot
outside of the real estate world.
There is a lot more to us outside of the real estate world.
So let's start diving into some outside of the real estate world stuff, which is going to be the new segment, which is going to be...
Well, it could take us anywhere. I'm not going to put a name to this segment because we're just going to see where that segment takes us.
I'm putting a name on it.
Don't put a name on it. Don't put a name on it. Anyway, today I thought it'd be interesting to talk about NFTs.
Do you know what it stands for?
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Non-fungible.
Oh, you do know.
Tokens. Do you know what those words mean?
I actually do know what those words mean, believe it or not.
What's
Basically, so each of the NFTs, they have like their own serial code. So it can't be traded for something else. So for example, and this is quite relevant to the conversation, but like baseball cards, Pokemon cards, NBA cards, like those other forms of investment that people are doing. You can trade a baseball card for a baseball card and you'll still have a baseball card. The NFT you can't trade for something else and still have the same thing. So I could trade a LeBron James for a Steph Curry, but I'm still going to have a basketball card.
So yes, the fungibility is not there.
Yes, so like the baseball cards, etc., they're fungible.
Token.
So the interesting thing about it is, and I'm going to just throw this out there, I'm not, as of right now, which I could eat those words, I'm not an NFT investor or fan. I think it's pretty out there. I feel it's one of those things that's kind of been caught up in the tech bubble as of late, that's come along with like crypto and everything, and I don't think it's going to last in the same way.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm just going to throw this out there.
So a little bit more, I think, insight to what you said. Yeah, so non-fungible tokens, so something that can't just be exchanged for something equal because there's one off of each. Token meaning it's on a safe, secure, whatever you want to call it, contract on the blockchain. We're not going to go any further into that because there's a lot of detail in that.
There is, but originally it started with Ethereum. I think that was the original.
That's the blockchain that it is, I think, most commonly used on.
Yeah, but now you've got like Logan Paul, for example, sold some NFTs.
Yeah. So you've got a lot of people doing it. He's one, for example.
Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. Do you know Linkin Parker?
I know Linkin Park, but I don't know Mike Shinoda. Didn't a Linkin Park guy kill himself?
He did, unfortunately, overdose.
But that's not the guy you're talking about.
No,
obviously.
No.
He died before this whole thing.
Mike Shinoda is the other. That was Chester you're talking about. Mike Shinoda is the other mastermind behind Linkin Park. Also started the rap group Fort Minor.
Yeah, I've heard of that as well.
Great band as well.
Anyway, what did he do with them?
Well, they sold off their own NFTs.
In what form? So you can do like art, which a lot of people think are going to.
Well, almost anything.
Music, videos, anything.
So like
digital.
Bored Ape was that one that I'm gonna have to Google it and see how much it went for. But like there are some of them that are going for like millions. I think Logan Paul did his. He put himself into a Pokemon card with this whole boxing thing lately. Sold it for 20,000. But Mike Shinoda was talking about it because the interesting thing is, so Logan Paul sells off that NFT Pokemon card of him. Because essentially all you're doing is the NFT, like I can screenshot that image and still use it. but I don't own the original. So essentially it's modern art, right? Like you can have a ton of copies of Picasso, but not the Picasso original. But what you could do if you're, say, like Logan Paul or anyone else putting an NFT out there is you could just create multiple of the same NFTs and keep selling them.
Yeah.
And just keep on making the same amount of money. So Mike Shinoda was the one who was talking about it because he's sold a few NFTs to do with various different like clips and footage of Linkin Park and whatnot. And he just could keep selling the same thing over and over again. He was saying it's an extremely unethical way of doing things, but it could be done.
I think the biggest thing that I've seen from it, and I again, the most common, I think the first one transacted in 2017, so quite a while ago, but obviously it's picked up a lot of hype and steam now with where everything is at. Vynerchuk.
Yeah.
So his, I find, are quite interesting because he's adding value. So you're getting his little like, whatever, he does these animals with rhyming things.
Yeah.
Workout Wolf is one that I remember. So what that does is when
the opposite of what you are. You are.
We'll do a topless
like
one of
the
these one
vulnerable
day,
pig.
and then we will. It's got to rhyme. Vulnerable pig, plump pig. That would be
okay.
Anyway,
also very accurate.
So you buy that NFT, and it's a picture that he drew, and then you get the legal fucking. We'll bleep that out. The legal ownership rights to that. But what that additionally does is two things. All of his has function as well. So he's got these conferences that he's doing every year, starting next year, VCon. So you get a ticket to one of those. Okay, yeah. I've heard of this as well. What that one does is gives you access to work out with him and his trainer, whatever, 2 times in the next 12 months. Yeah. So there's functionality behind it. So I think as, Logan Paul is quite obviously famous, and Vynerchuk and the music artists and athletes, and as it keeps going, you'll get a lot more functionality of them giving VIP experiences and all that. So I think saying like, I bought a JPEG, the Ether Rock, they were selling for $2 million, a picture of a gray, very awful basic rock. So that's one thing, but then when you've got functionality behind it, I think that is something that's going to continue. So I see this definitely sticking around, especially with this whole cryptocurrency thing coming so much more mainstream. I think it'll be around. So I'm going to contrast your long-term opinion of it.
Okay, so my thing on this is okay, if you're adding other aspects to it like that, then it becomes a bit of a different story, because as an NFT stands right now, you're hedging your bets that is essentially the future of art. Because talking about Vynerchuk, Gary V.
I agree with that.
Like one of the things that he mentions, and it's the same thing with all these like trading card games as well, is like people our age hate saying it.
Us like, millennials, when we do things, it's all the same. We're all the same group
as well. Yeah, anyway, so millennials our age and whatnot don't look at modern art in the same way that our elders do. So the new age, that's why you see like those Charizard Pokemon cards being sold to rappers for like $225,000.
Sold to rappers?
Logic.
Specifically.
Logic's a rapper. Pretty sure Logan Paul's done a rap. At some point. Anyway, but it's just an example. And then you see these NBA cards, etc., go for like hundreds of thousands of dollars as well, because people are more interested in putting that up on their wall as opposed to like an original Monet or something like that. But this is where, okay, that I can understand more.
Attainability too is another level of that argument.
Well, you can get an NFT for
I know, but you can't go buy a goddamn Picasso because it's $500 million or something.
No, but then again, like you've got people in like the trading card realm who will still buy and flip and make money on like lesser cards that are
for sure. But I think there's a lot more access to this level of stuff as well.
So I whether it's like, and I'm a very optimistic person, whether it's too much of a pessimistic view of humanity, I feel like those are things that can be shown off. Whereas if you're showing off like an NFT or something, it's all based on digital platform. It's all on the digital platform, and it's not shown off in the same way. Now, I'm trying to balance that a little bit with, I think it was Darwin who said, got to be open to change and the way things are changing, and not to look at it as in no, this is done. But that's my hesitation on it right now, as essentially you're hoping that the future of modern art goes digital.
I don't even think that it's hoping that it does. It's like anything. If anything needs a following to be worth something. Gold has a following. It's got a market value that can go up and down based on who's willing to spend what to buy it. And a varying how much comes out of the ground and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, it's a market. And this is the same thing. And I agree with you as well. Like the younger generation's modern art, I do believe it's looked at that way. And that for that reason, too, it will stick around. To the argument of, like, it's only digital, that's where more and more things are anyway these days. And another aspect of that that's commonly used is, like, the blue check beside your Instagram account.
Yeah.
That's only digital.
Why we don't have one of those,
value.
I do not know.
I inquired, I got shut down. We got to talk to someone because
we've inquired like 50 times, and every time they're like, stop emailing us.
But another reference, like skins in video games, Fortnite and all that sort of stuff. I don't know anything about that, but this is just references I've heard. So these digital value propositions are definitely, I think, there to stay. And as this generation comes up with it, our generation comes up with it, as in grows up with it, it's I definitely think the value proposition is there, and it's not going anywhere because things are just going more and more online.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say, I don't necessarily think it's completely like done or anything like that, but for me personally, I don't have any interest in online art. So I would be looking at it as purely an investment side of things. And would I hedge my bets in that way over something else? And probably more so that way before I go into something like bonds or something like that. But I'm just not sold on it yet. I also think to that point that it's so new, like, yeah, it has been happening kind of in the lower realms of social common norms and stuff, we'll call it. And now is probably the best time to get into it before it becomes a huge thing.
Well, I think now it is a huge thing when you've got huge money getting into it, but I think that could be very much like a big, huge bubble front end push. Things soften, as we talked about the other day, when, like, if and when the economy falters, where do all these alternative investments like this go? Where do these value propositions go?
Yeah.
When interest rates jump up and money isn't so cheap, where do these value propositions go?
Well, and it's harder as well for me, right? Because you've got people who, okay, let's take Linkin Park selling NFTs to certain, let's say they did it on a video of theirs. I can still get that video and still use that video. You won't be able to tell it's any different. I can still show all of my friends all of that video.
NBA's doing that with clips of...
Right, but like...
parts of games.
For me, I think during COVID, the whole online and tech world has gone obviously insane because everyone's been locked up.
Everyone's been there, yeah.
And then that's the only place that you could essentially go. That was the new social side of life. And so I wonder if there are certain things riding the wave on that, which I'm sure there are.
That's a good point.
And what's going to stay up and what's going to come down.
I think I agree with that, and I do think it will come down to my last point. I think it's very overblown right now. Like a lot of things, cheap money is helping people spend money everywhere. But I think the way the world's going in digital this, digital that, currency and everything, that it will be here for a while and will definitely continue to gain momentum.
Okay, so you're calling that NFTs are going to take off. What's the date today? September 29th, 2021. We'll be back September 29th, 2031.
Oh, wow.
To decide what happened over the last 10 years.
That might be different.
If you're still around. Yeah. You're cracking on.
Okay.
You're cracking on. I'll still be in my prime, but... we're going to go in different routes on this one. I think a lot of it depends on what type of investor you are as well. I'm not a huge gambler in terms.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm not a huge gambler, and I get it's not quite normal gambling because essentially you're making a call based on what I would hope is your own research. And
does it pay you to own it? If it don't, It's gambling, sir. Listen to Mr. Kiyosaki.
Speaking of Mr. Kiyosaki, no, this is not a Bitcoin talk. This is not a Bitcoin talk.
Do that later.
We'll save that one. But yeah, no, it's you can put some money towards it, and it's not complete gambling, but I don't think it's going to be as big as a thing for the masses.
No,
as you believe.
Well, I think that'll take a while.
So, then again, we have a lot of different perspectives when it comes to
these things,
Bitcoin and NFTs, and
we do. But I do think it's here
fitness
to stay.
And what constitutes a good-looking person and not, and all of these are everyday necessities.
We'll do a topless video one day, and we'll show the people who's in better shape.
We will lose thousands of followers if you take that shirt off.
No.
Thousands.
I think there's a new tip function in YouTube that you can actually tip.
Is that a thing?
Send money. Twitter does it. YouTube doesn't yet, but they will soon. And we'll tally our tips. There you go.
Yours is going to be for putting it back on though.
Stop.
I'll give you money if you put it back on. That's absolutely horrendous.
No.
I think that wraps up the NFTs. Again, it's still pretty new. If you're into NFTs and other sorts of alternative investment, give us a shout.
Message below. We'd love to hear your 2 cents. If you think it's going to stick around or crash and burn. And I look at you because I know you think it's going to crash and burn.
For once, I'm the pessimistic one.
Once.
In this
off
relationship.
camera, you're all pessimism. I am rainbows. Sun and rainbows all day.
Your voice is clearly I need you to settle down. It's a little bit too much sun and rainbows.
Sun and rainbows all day, every day.
Okay, that hairline suggests otherwise. See you next week, guys.
You had to go there.
Fucking right. What an end.